Chapter 8 Where Demons Sleep. Skea, matron of the Abyss, was not always a demon, cursed, malformed, and shattered in soul and physical body. She was once a beautiful woman that was part of a thriving farming community on a continent thousands of miles from her current abode. She was fair, and many men desired her affection. One day, a sea lord of immense power raided across the shoreline of this continent and took her along with her family and many other as slaves, to be used and discarded so easily and recklessly that their lives mattered not. Over the weeks, her family succumbed to disease and physical torture, and were thrown overboard into the abyss of the sea, along with her youngest brother. And through this torment, she was used and abused by the crew of the ship in all manners of ways. The Sea Lord was very fond of a cove on the Regal Isles. From here, he could hide his ship from view and make repairs, and then gather supplies from the local area, and trade with the lords and ladies that reigned upon these golden isles. Eventually, a foul energy plagued the air, and Skea was changed into an entity of wraith-like form, but with the physical strength of 10 men, claws that could cut through steel itself, and she could phase her body in and out of the material world. This power made her a formidable being, and she used her power of darkness to enslave the crew of the ship into eternal servitude. She bound the captain in a dark cave underneath the ship that brought her so far from home, and this cave would be the same cave that he himself had bound her inside. As she took power and dominion over the cove, she collapsed it on itself. She collapsed it in on itself, which formed a large cavernous cave, entrapping the great sailing ship and its crew into a prison of rock. For 1,000 years it has been so, and for 1,000 more it shall be, until eternity comes to an end and the light shines no more. Present day. The Elden Lord, Heinous, and Torrent all looked down the pitch-black cave where their enemy lurked beneath its black veil. Torrent was disturbed and would not move an inch forward from the tree line, which was unusual considering Torrent had seen many battle, and was subjected to death and revival more times than the Elden Lord could count. Although far fewer than his count, she dug her hooves into the mud further, cementing herself. "I don't think she will budge. You might need to unsummon her, although I hardly blame her," Heinous said as he bore down on the cave that so eagerly awaited them. "Quite all right. I shall leave her here so. She can guard the entrance for us. Isn't that so, Torrent?" he said as he gently patted her down her mane. Heinous looked uncomfortable, filled with an anxiety that came upon him suddenly, an extremely rare occurrence. "I don't know about this. I know that we are going to hunt a demon and capture its soul, but there is something else entirely inside. A black, vicious consciousness that seems to be inviting me to my death. I cannot place my finger on it." The Elden Lord nodded in agreement, and pulled out multiple lit torches that were emboldened with great fiery flame. "Here, take this. Keep your torch with you at all times. Stay within 5 feet, and we will make it out alive and well, and there will be one less evil in this land. Keep your sword ready at all times. This will get messy." Heinous pulled himself together, and entered the black veil of the cave with his noble ally, and as they journeyed down the throat of the cave, they entered a string of multiplying caverns that only went further and further on in the multiple directions. Sounds of an unnerving nature began to echo through the cave's black abyss. What was that? Did you hear that? Said Hyannis aloud, looking around him for any sign of contact with an enemy. The Elden Lord stopped and listened. I did not hear a thing. I think you are hearing things. Calm yourself, otherwise you will give our position away. Whispers began to creep over the walls of the cave tunnels, resonating an echo of predatory lust upon Hyannis, who he could only hear, and it drove him mad to the core. I can hear her. She knows we are here. She is hunting us. She will kill us. This was a bad idea. She is in my mind. The Elden Lord stood the counsellor's friend. I am with you here as an ally and friend. You need fret not, but if what you speak is true, then you should know if this demon is a she will no doubt try to turn your mind against you. If you calm yourself and ignore her attempts to demoralize you, we will have this day. Now is the time for courage, friend. Hyannis nodded again and resisted all attempts for any external force to breach his body or mind, and used the power given to him by his warrior ancestors for guidance, chanting an ancestral song that in his mind that gave him courage. 5 minutes inwards, however, both the Elden Lord and Hyannis felt the cold clasp of chills upon their body. Something was watching them. In a quick instant, the Elden Lord shouted, "Get down!" before he casted a surge of fire in the cave tunnel before them. A large open space was set in frenzied flame, and the shrieks and cries of dark creeping entities were heard. Their burnt bodies smelled, and now their forms, now seen. Black ravenous spiders. These black spiders were not normal spiders. Their bodies were built like large crabs, but with the agility, climbing power, and stealth of a spider, and their mandibles extended to wrap their victims in a cocoon that could preserve their food for many days or weeks. They were 6 foot tall, but some could grow beyond that, depending on if they had access to greater amounts of food and time spent growing. Numerous dead crawlers lay dead at both their feet, but even more stirred in the dark, and something even bigger still. A spew of fire again was thrown by the Elden Lord, while Hyannis struck hard and true with his sword that shimmered in the fiery light, as the foul ones began to bite and claw at them, managing often to inflict bloody injury. The fight must have continued for 10 minutes, but that 10 minutes felt hours, and then it was revealed to them. A great black crawler with a large abdomen that was capable of spawning more of the wretched creatures was in front of them. Attached to the cave ceiling, it watched both prey with eager and ravenous thought. You go around that way, and I will go around this way. Drop glowstones on the ground as you do. I do not think our torches will serve us well here. We must use both hands to defeat this black spawn. The Elden Lord clutched multiple glowstones into his hand, offering some to Hyannis as they began their plan. They ran around the centre of the room, around the creature, deploying multiple glowstones onto the floor that lighted the room into a bright beacon that blinded the mother crawler and her spawn. Then both the Elden Lord and Hyannis rushed at each other. Hyannis pulled out a shield, and as he did so, the Elden Lord leapt onto it and sprang into the air, where he cleaved the abomination's abdomen in two. The creature was dead and fell to the ground, promptly, and thousands of dead malformed crawlers spewed out from her abdomen, while any offspring that was still alive fled. Did we kill the demon then? Did you get her soul? Said Hyannis as he gasped for breath. The Elden Lord shook his head, and with a twisted smile, a smile that hoped for more glorious battle and death, he said, "That was no demon. That was just local wildlife. We still have a demon to slay." The Elden Lord jolted off back into the darkness. Hyannis sighed. Great. Now we have to not die again. Eventually they came across a large open cavern that was quite huge and open. One could fit a small village inside such a space. The Elden Lord saw it first, but Haines was astonished by what he saw. A great sailing ship. The ship had 3 decks and had 3 masts that were in a great state of decay. The sails were no more, and had not been for many hundreds of years. The wood of the ship was made of hardwood, but that too had rotted to the core, yet its overall being gave the feelings of prestige and might. A truly formidable vessel you would not wish to offend on the high seas. Would you look at that? Can you imagine sailing the oceans of the world on something as great as this? Haines said openly, opening his arms wide to embrace such a ship, even if he was still a good 50 meters away from it. The ship truly called to him. This is half the chapter read. The next half of this chapter will be read in the next video. This is a long chapter. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next chapter.